Yeah, if you give me your sizes at the end of the call, I'll sort out the merchandise.
Yeah, man. Baby Gap, small.
Baby Gap small.
You don't need a small, John. I've seen your arms.
Well, that's why Baby Gap small. Don't tell anyone. But,
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Today's call is going to be a game changer just because, obviously, as you all know, TikTok at the moment is the most favoured platform in terms of getting reach, getting engagement. And obviously, as it's quite a new platform, it's obviously in the learning stages now. So there's, as we test and as we research, we're finding more and more kind of different things that are going to help you basically dominate TikTok. Now, it's not only that, but see, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Instagram update. I know it's happened for a few people, not for everyone. But to be honest, a lot of these principles that we're going to go about today can be transferred over to Instagram with the new layout, because the Instagram layout is going to be very kind of TikTok focused. So whatever we go through today, I would actually say as well, apply to your Reels, because it will benefit both platforms, just so you're the one at the forefront. And what you'll probably find is as well is whatever we go through today, you start applying that, you'll probably find other people will start trying to do what you do as well, because everyone at the moment within the short video world, TikTok and Reels, basically lost. They're like, what am I doing? How do I do it? So the people that start to kind of do things differently, which we're going to go through today, will start to kind of lead from the front, and you should see people start to be like, oh, I'm going to see what they're doing, because they're doing very, very well. So lots of value to be going down today.
Yeah, I will also say actually, TikTok is not as new as people seem to think. Actually, it's been around a fair while now. So I thought that I was literally going through some stuff today before the call, and there's been a lot of people dominating on it for a long while, and there's just not been an adoption for a lot of businesses. But as we're talking about it, a lot more people start to talk about it, and there's several reasons for that. Firstly, as we all know, and we're going to be talking a lot about, and everyone's going to be talking a lot about the economy over the next 2 years. It's going to be the new COVID talk. There's always something in the news, right? So there's always got to be some fear and panic. Always. You'll never ever know. I'm between houses at the moment because I've got massive development going on at mine. So currently my mum's today. I'm like house jumping, and I walked downstairs this morning after did some emails, and my stepdad's got the fucking news on. It's the first time I've heard it in ages. I'm like, God damn, this is negative. I was like, they just pump fear constantly. So the point being is the new thing is going to be the economy. So it was COVID before, it's this now. But that being said, there is actually genuine reasons we talk about that, and there will be affordability issues, all this kind of stuff. So, we're talking a lot more, and going to be talking a lot more about ways to fortify you against impending economic doom and your life being over and everything that the news BBC tries to tell you is going to happen. But you play the cards right, anticipate it, leverage other and arbitrage other platforms, other ways of selling, i.e. TikTok, like we're talking about today. We should hopefully put you in good stead to still make progress, make a lot more money, and have a fruitful 2 years while everyone else isn't. So also, I would say TikTok is probably on its last legs. I think in terms of the organic reach that you're seeing, I don't think you're going to continue. This is just a prediction to get the same level of organic reach that we get now, probably in 6 months to a year's time, only for the fact that it is becoming more and more popular. The more money that goes into it, the less they'll have to give organic reach to kind of incentivize businesses to spend, because TikTok's advertising platform, everything is growing. We're going to see that it's going to start becoming less effective. So that's why we're talking about it now. We want you to kind of capitalize on it before it starts to dwindle, as every other social media platform has done. And as James just rightly said as well, another thing to take note of, Instagram, although still probably the best all-rounder social media platform, they've got there by copying other platforms. So absolutely, whatever we teach you in TikTok applies to Reels, because they're copying the algorithm as much as they possibly can. Obviously, they don't have the exact algorithm that TikTok use, but they are definitely benchmarking that algorithm because it's been so successful and popular, and they're adjusting the Reels algorithm to be the same. So definitely you can utilize this. However, that being said, there is nuances between both platforms, and we split test all the time. The actual content you want to be using does need to be different. The same way that you use the kind of general principles of creating a video is the same. So I would say the content needs to be different, platform specific, which is becoming more and more important. But the general rules of like using hooks, call to actions, those kind of things can be kind of shared across both. Before John and James go into a little bit more specifics about actually how to create TikToks, I just want to go over a few things that these guys take note of that changed recently in TikTok. There was a big update apparently on May the 22nd. So TikTok announced. And one of the major things is they're getting a little bit more specific in terms of how they show the content. So they're trying to basically go less broad and more niche. And they do that by identifying the context of your video through the text and the audio, the actual spoken word that's in that. So the two most important things that you want to be doing is actually writing. You know, when you put text overlays on your videos, this is just a quick thing. I'll let the other guys go into a bit more detail. To kind of let TikTok know who your video is for, the actual text you write on that is important. And also they transcribe every video that goes out so that their algorithm, their AI, will actually figure out what you're saying and then make sure from that they'll categorize your video. They know that that's going to be more influential and probably be more accurate than the actual text you write, because obviously you're talking about whatever it is you're talking about in the video, anyone can write any text underneath it. So those are actually more important. The text and the hashtags you want to keep in line as well with the video. And you don't want to be using broad stuff. You want to make it as specific as possible, because you want your video going to the right people, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to watch it, share it, whatever else. So you want to make sure that your TikToks are specific, and the messages that you're, the kind of audio that you're saying, the things you're writing all tie in so it goes to the right people, because they're the ones ultimately going to push the algorithm. Another thing to remember, these are just little quick things that are like little hacks. TikTok is a geo-focused platform, which I wasn't actually aware of. So it will actually start to show, although TikTok is a fantastic tool for international kind of exposure, better than any other platform, it will actually show people geographically local to you to start with. So if you're in Spain on holiday and you put a post out, actually show people geographically close to you first before it actually shows it to anyone else, regardless of what's in that video. So that being said, keep your content specific, probably to kind of where you're locally posting. And also post for the time zone you're in. So you might think, oh, I'm in Spain and I want to hit my UK followers, or I'm in, you know, Bali or wherever across the other side of the world. I'll post because it's 1 o'clock in the UK. Actually, no, you're better off posting 1 o'clock in Bali, because it actually picks up the time that you're in and will show it accordingly. Another thing to bear in mind, there's the biggest consumption shift in TikTok during the months of May and August, because people are on holiday, kids are at home, more people are on the platform. So we're going into probably one of the, as I just said, I think the organic reach is going to slow down. So probably the last biggest fruitful organic period where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck between now and August, if you really triple down on TikTok, because we've got more people using the app. There's more people consuming, especially fitness stuff around this time as well. So right now, tripling down on it is really good. In terms of posting, don't ever post more than once an hour. This is just general rules of thumb that I've figured out with working with guys, and also what I've been read from other marketers. Another really interesting one as well is try not to post when your actual followers are online. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but what TikTok are trying to do a little bit more, like Instagram, is trying to show your content to more of your friends and to broader audiences that are bringing down like organic reach. So if all of your, it's very difficult to know this, but I just thought I'd kind of put it out there. If your followers are online at a specific time, which they probably should be if they're targeted, you probably want to post slightly different to that. The only reason being is it will show to your followers first. And if they don't engage with that stuff, or it won't necessarily then show it to more to newer people. If all of your followers are online at that time, you want to be showing it to people that aren't necessarily following you right now, because you want to encourage them to follow you and go follow you through your funnels. Riding trends. This is probably one of the most important things. I'm not sure if any other guys are going to talk about this, but for example, and I know I said about not posting every hour. The reason I say that, you're thinking, fucking hell, I don't want to be posting every hour or less than every hour on TikTok. I won't have time for that. But a really good tactic is, for example, let's say Bitcoin crashed. You know, it's quite a vogue thing at the moment. And you did a video and it went viral because it was trending at that particular point. You probably want to wait another hour and do another video on why Bitcoin crashed part 2. And what you'll find is, if you're riding a trend, you can keep posting very similar videos about the same topic that's trending over a 24 to 40 hour period and actually like clean up on followers. Really interesting tactic. So let's say, for example, there was like some major thing about, I don't know, a new diet trend or fad or something like that, and you know, it came out that was rubbish. You could jump on that bandwagon and do 3 or 4 points of videos, because so you did one and it absolutely flew. Do another one an hour later after that, until it starts to die down. You can get away with being a little bit spammy on TikTok, providing it's running on a trend. And that was a really cool tactic we've used with some other companies actually that work really well. Really fired up. I've not actually done it personally, but that works really well. If you fall on a trend that's going on right now, so for example, you know, anything on the news that's kind of relevant to what your niche is talking about, jump on it there and then. Really good tactic. Post time strategy, so I know you guys are going to talk about this. Best way to do it, because it's really difficult to say when your best post time is post consistently for 7 days, multiple times a day. And I think one of the guys is going to talk about how many posts you should be doing. But post multiple times a day, figure out of those posts you did over 7 days, 5 or 6 of those videos which performed better than the others. Look at the times you posted. Then give a margin of half an hour before, half an hour after that, and use that as your general post time. That's the kind of way I would strategically quickly implement figuring out your best post time, and improve that over time. The more kind of advanced you get on TikTok, the better data you can start to gather. Typically, though, best post time on the whole, from research and speaking to other people, is 7 to 11 p.m. So a little bit later. That tends to be the best for most niches. So start there and kind of work out around it. And yeah, I think that's some very quick fire hacks for TikTok, before we go into a little bit more specifics on actually how to post. Yeah, I think that's all pretty self-explanatory. Who's up next?
I will go in with my bit because it'll link nicely on with John's. So essentially what I wanted to go over is production in terms of, production and volume. So, essentially the best way to produce TikToks, and also the amount of volume you need, and kind of breaking the mindset between them two. Because what's happening at the moment is obviously quality of content is increasing. So what we tend to do as coaches is we obviously think that we need to be producing high quality all of the time. Now, what's happening is with the algorithm on TikTok, and I've got a few people in my kind of network that are essentially viral on TikTok all the time, millions of followers. Now, they post high volume every single day. They will post 3 or 4 times a day. And as Gary Vee said, who's obviously pushing TikTok hard, is document, don't create. So if you get a blend of documentation, for example, if you're having meals, or if you're training or whatever, just put up a couple of TikToks that are generally a bit more raw, and then potentially have a couple of high quality TikToks as well, just to get that balance. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to think in your head, I need to be producing high quality all the time. And then what will happen is you'll get overwhelmed and you end up not producing much at all, and then you'll never push up in the algorithm. So actually, and also you need to think, right? And another thing I've realized is, obviously everyone normally takes their Instagram and wants it to be like perfect, right? The perfect layout, the perfect trend, looking all pretty. Take that mindset away. And with TikTok, like I said, just go for volume. And then once you get to the point where you're pushing 3 or 4 a day, and your followers increasing, your views are increasing, you can then start to taper off to 2 a day and make sure they're high quality. Then it will get more conversion. So the people I've spoken to and I've seen, they have to go through them phases of just like volume. Then now they're at the point where they go 2 high quality a day and they're getting a lot more from it. But you kind of have to ride the wave to get to that stage. So in terms of like your day, if you're even, having a meal or whatever, take a picture of your meal or take a video of your meal and maybe talk about, how many calories it's got or why it's high in protein or whatever. Just little simple things like that. One of our mentees actually did a TikTok, and he videoed Weetabix in Tesco, protein Weetabix, and compared it to like a pack of chicken or something, and said like, I hate it when supermarkets promote high protein in cereal, and it got like 300k. And it was like the weirdest TikTok ever, but it spiked his engagement up. So even if you are around in supermarkets, or for example, taking a picture of a protein yogurt, these are a great source of protein at half the price of whatever. Just post it, document it, and you should start to get that reach. Because I know, like I said, lots of people are trying to push at high quality at the moment. And yes, it's great and high quality is good, but don't think, crap, I need to do 4 like polished TikToks per day to get everything moving. The next thing I wanted to go through is basically lots of people now are going like, how am I actually going to convert people from TikTok into paying clients? Now, a fair few people have now started to get application forms direct from Instagram, as in they've gone from their TikTok, they've gone to their Instagram profile in their TikTok, they've then gone into Instagram, applied for coaching. Okay, so it is starting to happen now. People are clicking through to your Instagram profile. Now, another good way is obviously if you're going to be getting high volume, TikTok is obviously a platform where people might not know who you are, and people might need that little bit more trust. So what we've been testing is an actual lead magnet in the bio of your TikTok. So then at the end of your TikToks, add a call to action to that lead magnet, give the people that you don't know, they don't know you, some extra value, and then you can obviously follow them up. Because again, there's not really any way yet in terms of collecting some good data from TikTok in terms of like, application forms and stuff like that. So if we can collect their information for free via a lead magnet, we can then retarget them and we can then create conversation with them. So it's kind of like your way to get people in. So for example, if you've done a nutrition reel, like how can we tweak the call to action at the end of that TikTok, to then cross over to our lead magnet? So you're constantly driving traffic from video to lead magnet, video to lead magnet. And then, like I said, follow people up, have an email drip in place, and you'll probably get a better conversion rate that way because you're going to be warming people up more. So you're that's them saying, oh, I'm interested in what they have to say and what they're doing, but they just want that little bit more trust, a little bit more validation. And then that's exactly how we think for now, the best funnel will be on TikTok is going more value based to get more people into your network.
I will also chime in there and say, actually, you might read online that you shouldn't put call to actions on your TikTok because it was actually affecting reach. The algorithm that came out on May 22nd is no longer penalizing videos for putting call to actions at the end of their videos, just to let you know. So if you do read that, that's now changed. And as James was saying, another thing you could do as well, if you don't necessarily have a lead magnet, you can link to your WhatsApp. So you can have specific tools that if you have a hyperlink, it'll actually open up your WhatsApp chat. Basically, you want to have some form of communication, because obviously the biggest downside to TikTok is there isn't a messaging service unless you're both following one another. Another quick tactic as well is once you've got, I think it's 1,000 followers, correct me if I'm wrong, it changes quite often, you can actually start TikTok lives. And TikTok lives work really well. And I've worked with a client and a mentee that had a lot of followers and they started doing a lot of TikTok lives, and off the back of that was pushing lead magnets. So for those of you who don't know what lead magnets are, it's obviously some form of free piece of value. It might be a guide, it might be something where you give someone a diet audit or something along those lines to start and spark communication and get some contact details for that person. So you could do a TikTok live, offer someone a free guide, an audit or whatever, if they put their email in there and you send it out. And as James was saying, you could have it linked to a lead magnet page where we can help you if you guys want to set that up. Just reach out to yourself at a call where you want to collect their emails are great, but also probably an Instagram handle as well. So obviously we love DMing and pre-framing in the DMs, as you guys know. But ideally you want Instagram and email, which you can get off the back of the lead magnet, and utilize TikTok to just get as much exposure as possible. So yeah, those are great tools. And TikTok can be a very good lead generator. It's just not really talked about enough, and not a lot of people know the kind of tips and tricks to use it, but definitely using a call to action at the end of all of your videos to push towards something of some form of free value works really well.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things to understand is how TikTok, the algorithm works. I've got a presentation, so I don't know if I could share my screen in a minute, James, but TikTok is indexed by interest, not follower. So with Instagram, we're used to following people's content and subscribing to one person and tuning in. And so that remarketing, there's a lot more prevalent on Instagram. TikTok is not like that. You're literally just exposed to new content daily. There's not much association to following people and seeing their content. So you're typically going out to a colder audience again and again and again. And it's worth bearing in mind in terms of the content strategy, because similar to Reels, we kind of go with a little bit more value. They're not going to understand more about us. So we need to kind of grab their attention. And ultimately, when I talk to my clients about what we're trying to do, is the first thing, we've got 3 battles. The first battle is for attention, then it's for trust, then it's to sign them up on the phone. So when we look at TikTok, we've got to think about winning their attention. And as James mentioned, there's a lot of content you need to do to really leverage the algorithm. You've got to basically instruct TikTok that you're a content producer, and you've got to pump it. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot we can do with our existing content that you're already producing for Instagram, whether it's building up a bank of, say, 40 or 60 videos and then launching, bearing in mind that, as Elliot said, the organic reach is not going to last forever. So there is a time constraint. However, building up and recycling your real content and using hooks to grab attention and just we just got to win their attention within the first 3 seconds. So let's just go into it. So in essence, what we've got to do with TikTok, we've got 3 seconds before someone makes a decision if they stay or leave. And most of your content is going to go out to new people every single time. You're not going to kind of have the opportunity to remarket and rely on previous relationship or previous trust. But the good news for you is there's a lot of active people on TikTok, averaging spending just under an hour a day per person. So that's a lot of attention on the platform. We just got to understand that we're continually going to new people. And one of the key things to understand is, as James mentioned, we're going to pump out content, but pay attention. When something works, make note of it, whether it's as Elliot said as well, the key thing that they index for basically the way they read your content is the text on the screen and what you actually say. That's the kind of priority. They understand what you're talking about and then they push it to those people. So for example, with the protein yogurt, if that works, maybe just repeat it with different food products, different protein comparisons, and don't be afraid of repetition, because you are going to continually new market. And if that's getting you followers and getting you exposure, it's getting out to more and more people. It's not necessarily the same people seeing your yogurt video repeat and repeat and repeat. So pump the content, but pay attention. Make note of the keywords, make note of the duration when you posted it, and when you hit it, you're in the batting cages. People are pitching to you and you're just swinging. Every now and then you're going to connect, and when you connect, just make note what it is. But what we can do is, in terms of the content we've already got, we can use hooks to basically frame it in a way that's going to get that attention within the first 3 seconds and make them watch our existing content. And well, what is a hook? Put it simply, it's like it's a tagline or anything on the first thumbnail of the video, which are going to stop people and garner interest. So in this example, it's about the actual placement of the video. Something's about to happen. It's a curiosity spiker. You've got the text here saying, well, it could be the best clip ever. The music as well is quite important, because you can use crescendos to your advantage, where in essence, if there's a drop about to happen, it makes people stop. And what are you going to tie the drop to the video to? So the key thing is we want to build anticipation. And if we can do it visually, if we can do it with text, and if we can do it by editing the most important or the most interesting part of the video to be at the front, to capture that or to win that battle of 3 second attention, that's what we need in order to kind of convert and make people watch the rest of the video. And it's quite an important point, because watch time is one of the key things that's going to increase your conversion rate and push your content to more people. And if we're doing this if we make a practice of this and rinse and repeat every single day, we're just maximizing our chances to get in front of people again and again and again. And the opportunity's never been higher. You know, you can get more followers within 2 days on TikTok than you can from like a year on YouTube. So it's a massive exposure point, but the key is understanding or indexing your content on to a certain interest and capturing attention. So in essence, we've got one here, evoking curiosity, quite an interesting thing. How isn't this viral yet? The sound as well. Basically, there's a drop about to happen with that. So in essence, just make people stop. If you're struggling for ideas, there's a few things, there's basically 6 concepts you can use. And what I'm going to do is I've provided this in a document we're going to put on the resources center for the website. So you can download it from there. I'll put it on tonight, but feel free to like use these templates and just adjust the headings to make people stop and watch and to kind of build that anticipation, build that curiosity. So typically you can look at with fitness, there's something called the offer. So want more, how to get more, here's how to become. So for example, if you've got any training video and you've got like this guy, essentially you've got, you know, the imagery is quite stark, it's quite contrasting, he's biting his t-shirt. Anything that's slightly odd that's going to capture attention, you could put it at the front. But any sort of training video where you can snip the front bit of it and then just frame what you've already got with how to do X or Y, yeah, that's going to make people stop, watch, and engage. There's the big promise, 3 simple steps. Here's exactly how I don't know if it's just the female market where you can gain a bit of advantage of this from Romanian deadlifts, but deadlift videos work really well. Across, I've got a few mentees who are doing really well with deadlift videos, getting sort of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. And I think it's partly people being perverts, partly the fact that, you know, it's sometimes with deadlifts, it's like, you know, will you take it off the floor? Will it come off the floor? Will you make the pull? It's that question mark where you've got to grab people by the eyeballs and make them engage for that first 3 seconds. And then, you know, if we can get through that, we can make them watch, you know, statistically, they'll watch the rest of the video being under 30 seconds. And then it's going to help push it to more people. Problems, how to grow your chest, pretty self-explanatory. And in this one, it's just an example. He's got his headphones on his head. I mean, anything that is slightly odd, that can make you stand out, make people catch their eyes, is important to kind of get on that first bit of attention. Typically, you know, fear of loss is twice as powerful as hope of gain. So it's not always good to push negative, but you can use negative emotions here where you'll never have X if you don't do this. So that's another example. There's also the secret. Use this as and when you want. I personally, it can be a little bit scammy in terms of the secret of this, but it does work. Bearing in mind, it is going out to new people. So if you're going out to if your target market is under 2 years, relatively beginner, this tends to work quite well. But anyone who's seasoned, quite experienced, it's not going to work as much. And then there's a proclamation I'm about to share with you, X, and the things I've had to do to learn this. So that's moving on from there. And then also the story, you'll never guess where I've started. So for this, you know, in terms of fitness, transformations are quite good, you know, in terms of like baiting them. You could either do how it started, where you basically do the before, and then you can use music, trending sounds with a drop to then launch into the after, or you can do the after and then tagline of where the start point was. So there's several things to do with that. I'm sure you guys seen this chat, but in essence, this kind of illustrates the example of once you find something that works, don't be afraid to repeat, because this guy's obviously got a formula. Don't be a dick with your X, literally, but you know, with your bench press. So in essence, that's his like hook he's using, and he's repeating it with different exercises, and he's effectively gaining a lot of traction with a lot of views repeatedly. And here's just another fitness example of how it started, how it's going, etc., etc. So with hooks, in essence, it's all about gathering that first bit of attention, and with the content you've already got, just recycle it, edit it, and then it could be a case of just planting some text on the front of the screen to kind of win that first bit of attention. And once you have got something that works, probably replicate it if you can. Put some time making 10 different versions of that and push it out if it's kind of sticking. Because as I said, it's indexed on interest, not following. So you can look at it as a perfect test bed for what a target market is interested in, actually. You know, it's good audience research. So pay attention when stuff works and then repeat. Then we got another little presentation, not quite done just yet, but yeah, in essence, this illustrates the point of the algorithm. So indexed on interest, there's something called the reflection strategy you can use. So there's two sections to TikTok. There's your following. As James said, it's not native, or it's not a natural thing for people to follow each other. So having call to actions to kind of tell them what to do and lead them onto an action, we need to kind of really do that, because in Instagram it's quite common, TikTok it's not. So we need to kind of promote following if we can, because it's not the norm. And there's also a recommended section. And what we can do is we can really leverage the algorithm and populate it. So in essence, the more content you see, and if you're kind of careful of what you watch, you're going to tell TikTok what you're interested in, and then it's going to show you more of this. So if you think of what your target market will be and what the content they produce, if you start to follow that and watch it over and over, even if it's the first few seconds of whatever you're watching, you can then let TikTok's algorithm do the work for you and push audience content in front of you again and again and bring the leads to you in effect. Yes, we have to go out and follow each other, but it's a good way of bringing that to the fore. And likewise, it's determined by activity, show you what you watch, whatever you engage with. Again, you can use it to get audience insight for what they're following, what they're interested in, and also to kind of bring the leads to your direction as well. So in short, the difference between the two platforms, there's not as much remarketing, and don't be afraid to, when you find something that works, to repeat it. That's pretty much the main difference, what it is. And once, as James said, once you have got the content up and you have primed the algorithm, you can back off. But for some of you, appreciate recycling and there's only so much time in the day, but you can use hooks to kind of recycle what you've already got.
Yeah, so just quickly, for those of you starting out, I can't emphasize enough with TikTok that you can be spammy with the same kind of content. It's very, very different to Instagram in that fact. They don't really have so much of like a trust rating, where Instagram will give you a more organic reach based on your past record of engagement. TikTok is very much, they're just trying to seek out viral content. So they have specific algorithms, which I think I kind of know how it works using sample beds, but that's kind of irrelevant. So they just want to figure out what's going to be viral, what's not. They don't give a shit about your past kind of your past history. So you can get away with, just if you're starting out, just keep trying new stuff. If there is trends online, definitely use them. That's one of the fastest ways to grow your following is to jump on trends and tie that into your niche however way you can. So that's why people use kind of memes to tie in with their could use the Johnny Depp thing and possibly something to do with dieting, I don't know. And whatever's going on that day on the news, or what's going viral on the forums or whatever, on Reddit, Twitter, those kind of places are great to then use on TikTok. And then don't be scared of doing a video every 1 or 2 hours on that same thing while it's running. Another quick thing as well is people don't tend to browse down through TikTok, your page, which is why you can get away with being a bit spammy, because as you've just seen, you can have pretty much the same thumbnail over and over again, a slightly different topic area. What I would say though is you can pin 3 videos at the top of your page. Those people do tend to look at those. So put your highest performing videos that have a decent call to action on for those, because people tend to, they will go onto your page, will watch those top 3, typically just those. And if they have a good call to action, go to your bio, and they're kind of a well-liked video, that'd be a good way to obviously kind of organically trickle through leads. But other than that, it really is a case of testing and just going at it. Apparently, you should really post more than 6 videos a day. Don't know if any of you've got enough time to do more than 6 videos a day, but don't post more than 6. So the sweet spot seems to be about 4. It's still pretty hard, but if you are being a bit spammy with it, it's not so hard. So, and as James said, document, don't create as much as possible. That's not to say you shouldn't create, but if you're relying on creation and being really innovative with your videos, they probably flop. And secondly, you're going to spend all of your time on TikTok. So just reuse and kind of remold things that are working, and spend and be a consumer of TikTok as well is another thing. Follow a lot of people in your niche, follow a lot of people that see what they're doing, and just get tons of ideas written down from what other people are doing, and make it your own. And that seems to be the quickest way, without spending too much time and effort racking your brains on how to create unique content. There's so many people posting on there, nothing is unique. It's very rare to be unique. So just make something, a topic that's trending in your space, that's interesting in your space, your own, and put your own little spin on it. And like you say, give some form of value at the end of it through your funnel. And that's the best way. Use TikTok lives as and when you can to kind of get a bit more of that communication open. Like I said, that's a really great tool. I know a few people have really used TikTok lives to get a lot of leads off the back of it and actually to sell well. I know a guy that, I worked with a mentee a little while back who was using TikTok and he got 100 new clients in a month just off of TikTok lives. He did have a big TikTok following. And we kind of were working on strategies with him, and that worked really well. So yeah, TikTok is your oyster. So any questions? We've got a few in here. How useful are stories on TikTok? At the moment, they're not really doing a lot as far as we've seen. I don't know of really any other marketers as well that even mentioned them as a good tool. I don't think the premise of the algorithm is people just slide through anyway the TikToks. So the same way you would do stories, you've already got that functionality kind of built into the main system. So they've probably put that on there to just try and keep up with the Joneses, but I don't really think it's something you probably want to spend a lot of your time on. They might, because they are shifting towards more niche based, and I think they are trying to push a bit more follower based. It might become more prevalent because stories are a bit more to like satisfy your current followers. But if you've got time, try it. Like I said, we've not really seen anything that's anything to write home about that. Anything else? Be relatively thorough.
I think one of the big things, I know you've just mentioned it again a little bit, literally is like, just don't see TikTok as like it needs to be perfect. Like, change the mindset of like it needs to look pretty, it needs to be bang on, and just focus on producing as much as you can to get the growth out of the account. Because yes, I know it's growing and it has been around for a few months now, but obviously it still is in that kind of growing new phase where they're adding loads of different things. So if you hammer it now, it should see you in a good stead. What would you suggest do the lives on? Can it be something as simple as taking people on your training day? To be honest, so I've had a few people do that, and I've actually been on a few people's lives. They normally like to do a bit of a topic and a bit of Q&A. Q&As go down well. So if you maybe think of like 4 or 5 topics that your audience or people you want to target struggle with, then write down the questions yourself so you've got some element of content to produce. But people will generally ask you stuff anyway. So I'll do that. And again, also just actually get creative. Like, for example, maybe put your phone down and do a live and be like, how many reps on this deadlift do you think I'll get, or whatever, and like just test it again. Like again, because it's engaging people, and obviously you can get more people watching, more people liking, etc., then it might get shown to more people. So again, just keep testing. But if you go value based, test it, then test, like I said, maybe some training or something, maybe something fun, bit of a challenge, and see what goes down best. Pleasure.
Also,
Any other
one other thing from personal experience, if you are going to be a little bit out there on TikTok, grow a thick skin.
Definitely.
Right. I am actually now a viral meme. Just saying. I don't know if any of you have seen my video, but I was testing the waters with some out there content, and my hook has been reused, thousands of times now. It was a little bit, I pushed it, but the thing is with TikTok, you can get away with it. And although it comes with a lot of bashing, if you did stuff physique related or anything along those lines, you're going to get a lot of steroid comments. You're going to get a lot of like vanity comments, just generally I mean, they were criticizing my hair, my clothes, my life, you know, all the way down to probably like my pet, like literally everything. You will get criticized beyond beyond belief. So be prepared for that, and don't take it to heart, as it's easier said than done. But know that to be massive on TikTok, you do tend to have to be pretty polarizing. So you're going to have a lot of Marmite likes and dislikes, especially around a subject content such as fitness, physique. That could be, you know, missing. You know, you get a lot of jealous keyboard warriors on there. So yeah, do be prepared for that, and just laugh at it, and know that, you know, if you're producing great content, I got a lot of conversations off the back of it. I mean, my video hit like it's still growing, so over 400,000 views, and on its way up on an account that hasn't really done a huge amount. It's a decent amount on there, but which has generated a lot of leads, a lot of business proposals, you know. So with all the negativity came a lot of positivity. So grow a thick skin and enjoy it. And the same with any platform, really. If you do, YouTube's the same. You're going to get a lot of keyboard ninjas on there too. So it's all part of the fun. And just know that, you know, the better you're doing, the more of that you're going to get.
Any other questions at all? All good? Perfecto. Right, enjoy your afternoons, evenings, and also, like, you know, as always, if you do ever do a TikTok, or, you know, you're thinking about producing anything, just whack it in the group chats, and we'll always go through stuff. And also, just if a video does do extremely well, again, whack it in the group chat. You know, it's always good to see what is working for everyone as well. So yeah, keep smashing it. See you later.